So yes, we have discussed about the tools, right? Whatever the tools in that SnapLogic level that we have discussed, as well as the Snaps pipelines, as well as the
Yes.
admin level access what we are providing, the dashboard level.
Yes.
So this is what we have got yesterday.
Right, Prabhakar. Thank you. So what we have initially, okay, and in the UI components, the three main components: designer, dashboard, and monitor. All three we discussed, each and every option over there, how to use copy, how to use delete, versioning, everything, compare, notes, print, everything, right? So today we'll focus fully from today on the development canvas. Okay, we'll start with the understanding the snap options, followed by simple use cases. Okay, we'll try with small use cases first. Let me start with one. Okay, shared weather unit conversion. Okay, I'm creating a pipeline. Okay, demo one. It'll be under shared. Okay, I think now you know how to create a pipeline in this UI. It is just a click button here, the plus icon. Okay, I want to show you the snap options. We'll begin with snap options first. What is the common configuration of all the snaps? We'll begin with them. Let me open any. Okay, let's see this one in this sample pipeline. Let's open any one. Okay, any snap tab. Okay, any snap has three, at least three tabs. Okay, settings, which is common, views, which is common, and info, which is informative about the snap. These three tabs are common to all the snaps. Okay, and then we have some snaps where they connect to external endpoints. We will have account tab as well. Yeah, right. Settings, account, views, and info. So what is mean by settings? All the snap related, all snap options are here. Everything that we configure in a snap is in the settings. Here, this is a JSON generator. This is a simple snap. We need to provide JSON data. It gives the output as JSON parsed. The parsed JSON. Let me take a copy. I'll validate. Looks like we still have the node issue. So we have kind of a permissions issue to validate this. So I'm moving it to shared folder. this is our data. Message hello world num is 1. This is the output preview, which will we be seeing only in the validation mode. When we click validate, it shows the output data in the output view. When we run it, we do not see anything. Okay, we will see the statistics only. We cannot see the data in execution. And let's know about snap options. Okay, when you right click here on any snap, you'll see edit, which is equal to the double click or single click of it here. And the next, delete. If I want to delete the snap, delete it. We can do Control Z, it appears again. And to save it, we can do Control S, that's a shortcut, or we can click on this. And same way, we can disable the snap, which means if I disable the snap, all the connected, which means from here till here, pipeline will be fully disabled. Because if this snap is disabled, this will not pass data, any data, to the downstream snaps, which means logically they are also disabled. You can see all show like disabled. If I disconnect, let's say I disconnect here. Now this shows first two are disabled and the next two are processed. There's no data right now, so they're processed with 0 records. All right. So when we connect the snaplet to the new snap, okay, I just opened. We need to connect the snap here this way. When we connect from these views, okay, mostly it will be auto connected this way. And the circle, if you see the dark circle, it means these two snaps are connected. And to unconnect or disconnect, here we can just click and move it. If it is connected, we'll be able to move all the connected snaps together. You can see if we click, hold and move, all the connected snaps will be moved. Okay, and on the views, okay, the setting tabs are common to all the snaps. We will go and detail each common snaps, okay, each and every configuration of all the common snaps. And when we discuss about views, okay, in views you might have observed we have two types of views, right? We can see here these two snaps are connected with the circle, and here we can see diamond shape. This means the data that flows to, since SnapLogic is JSON document processing system, data that we receive or we fetch from the source system should be formatted to a JSON data format and then processed in SnapLogic pipeline. Then based on our needs, we will convert it to the necessary or the required target data format. Right now, we have JSON data. We are converting it to CSV. And when it is converted to a binary from a document format, we will have this type of view. I will preview that. Let's see, we have two fields. I will map both of them. Save and validate. Yes. Here we have JSON data. Right? Preview type, sometimes we can see in the form of table also if it is structured data. And JSON, we mostly see the JSON preview. This is a JSON formatted data. And we can also see raw, which means this way, just in a plain text format. Here we will see parsed JSON. We see the same output preview in JSON generated output, which is document based. Again, here we click next, mapper output. We don't need to go and close and open the next preview. We can use arrow buttons as well. Okay, let's look at mapper output preview. It is the same. Message hello world. Then let's look at CSV formatter output. It shows as file, right? If I click preview, we can see it is CSV formatted perfectly. We can download this data if we want as a file. And we can see here as well the content type text.csv, character set UDF8. And we can write this to a file test.json. Right now it is not written. We will write it. Okay. The next, snap options. Now let's look at all the snaps common options, right? Snap options are common. Snap tabs are common. We discussed, except the account. Account is available only to some snaps where the snap connects to external endpoints. We need to provide authentication. Okay, and snap execution. This means, do we need to process the data in validation mode, or it should be our execution mode? If I key execute only and validate the pipeline, this does not process any data. You can see just completed, no preview. You can see it is execute only, which means this works only in execution mode. I'll execute the pipeline. When it turns green, all the snaps turn green, which means they are completed without any errors. We can see in the, when you hover the cursor, you can see output 1 and mapper. Input 1, it received input 1 from JSON generator, and output produced one document to CSV formatter. And CSV formatter received one record from mapper and output view 1. This is in the form of file, so it shows the size of that file as well. This is of 31 bytes. And file writer received this 31 bytes data from CSV formatter, and there is no output view opened. So output view is closed. We don't have it opened. Now let's see the file is created or not. So now where do we find the file? I've just given the name of the file. I did not specify any location where to create it. Any guess?
It will store in SLDB.
Sorry?
It will store in SLDB path.
Yes, but which folder? Can you guide me here? Let me open.
In manager folder it will store.
Yes, you're right. In this folder, which means where the pipeline is present. If I do not specify any path here, where the pipeline is present. Right now it's in the root share. So let's go there and see root share. Here is the file. You can just preview the file. We have the data converted to CSV. All right. So that's the difference between execution and validation. And if I disable the snap, I can disable from here as well. nothing works. If I run or validate, it doesn't show any processing data. Everything is disabled. Okay. Now let's see about views. Okay. You might have observed here, we have output view for this and input and output view for this mapper, and both views for CSV as well, but no output for file writer. So why do we have to do it? Every snap has views, okay? Input and output views. Every snap has. And when do we use both, right? For some snaps, input is not mandatory. For example, the JSON generator. It does not need an input, right? If we want, we can have. We can see input data minimum 0. So it is not necessarily to have an input view because it can produce the data without receiving from any upstream. It can produce data. Here we just provide some data and it shows in the output view. If I add just plus, I cannot add one anymore. Only one output view here. Output view is opened. But I'm not using this input view. So I will close it. I'm not passing data to it to JSON generator from anywhere. I have hard-coded data. So I will close this. Okay. Same way we have output view, minimum 1, maximum 1. This needs an output view to pass data to the downstream snaps, to connect to downstream snaps. So it is mandatory that we need an output view for this to pass on the data. So we must have one output view open. You can see minimum 1, maximum 1, and I cannot delete this. The snap needs to have at least one output view. All right. So same way, each snap has input views and output views, and based on its function, we need to configure or enable or disable the input views and output views. Let's look at the next mapper snap. Here we have input minimum 0 for this snap as well. If we give some data here, some static data here, we don't have to open the input view. This does not need to get input data from any other snap. If I give hardcode data like name user 1, if I have hardcode data this way, I do not need any input view. Since in this use case, we are using message and number from the previous snap. So this has to take data fields from previous snap. So we have the input view open. I've added another field as well here and validate. We can see new field appears. Name user 1. All right, then let's know about CSV views. Here we need one. CSV formatter takes data from input view, input snap, and process it, converts it to a JSON format, then produce the output to the downstream snap this way. So this requires both an input view and output view. We cannot add any more, or we cannot remove any view. Okay, and there are a couple of snaps, not so many. Mapper snap has a special functionality, like as a feature. We can change the output view from input to from document or binary. So we very rarely use it. We may not use mapper to process document binary data. We always use it for document data. If I change to binary, input view will be changed to binary. So this expects binary data. We cannot connect JSON generator here. This cannot be connected. So only the same output and same input view, same document will be connected. Document cannot be connected to binary view, or binary cannot be connected to document view. Here if I try to connect file writer, which has binary input, I cannot connect document output there. This won't be connected. This requires only binary input, and this requires only binary output, document output. Okay, anyway, we rarely use it for mapper or any snap. We rarely use binary, or we can say document. I just switched document input and binary output. We use it in very rare scenarios. Are you following me? Feel free to ask questions, or if I'm moving fast.
Hi, Sunil. Can you please explain about the pass-through and null safe access, which we use here?
Yes, yeah, we will go. Okay, let me finish. I'll come back to that. Thanks for asking that. Here, the mapper. Okay, so let me give a brief understanding about all the snaps. Then I'll explain each and every transform. Okay, to answer your question straightly, pass-through means this is common to many snaps, but not all. Okay, many snaps have this button, which means along with the transformed data, okay, or the processed data, whatever this snap processed the data, along with that, I want the input of this to be passed to output view as it is without any change. In that case, we will enable pass-through. So here we have MSG. Okay, let me do like in the input view. Let's see the input. In the input data, we have message and number, but we mapped only message and the hard code value username, right? I want, along with the transformed or the mapped data here, I want the input data as it is, okay, without any change. Then I enable pass through. Let's see how it does. In the output, you see the name as well, sorry, number as well. Number. But we did not map it, right? We did not map the number, but we received it as it is from the input, right? This is about pass-through, and in mapper snap we receive as it is, but in other snaps like database snaps and file snaps, we receive in another object called original. Here it is direct way. We will have an object called original, which means the input data to that snap. It passes along with the output of that snap. Along with that, it will give an original in the form of original object. We will see the input data here. We'll see that when we work on other use cases. Okay, and the next, null safe access. This is common to many snaps, same like pass through. This is common to many mapping where we do mappings. Okay, we will have this option. So when do we use it? Let's say I have a field, okay, number, but we don't have a field number. But I expect in the input data, few records have this field called number, but few records have field and just num. In this case, I want to keep nulls, right? Instead of, if I run this now, pipeline fails. I mean, the snap fails. You can see snap fails saying the input is not found. Number is undefined. Perhaps you means num. I don't want num. I want number, dollar number. In that case, I want to have null. Instead of failing the snap, I would like to let null appear here. Now you see null. In the preview, we can see null. If I uncheck it and try to validate preview, number is undefined. Okay, so you got the difference, uh, Supriya?
Yes, Sunil. Yes, Sunil.
All right,
Thank
fine.
you.
So
Yeah,
Sunil, so null safe is right. Just we are handling the null. So pass through is whatever the value whichever defined that will accept as that value. Is this
yes, and to rephrase that, null safe access is to keep null value where the field is not present. Okay, instead of failing the snap, I don't want to fail it. I want to null in number. It's okay to appear the null where we don't have this input field in some of the records. I like to keep null value there. So if I keep null value, we will see it won't fail now. We can see number is null. Okay, did I make it
okay?
clear?
So yes.
All right. Since I started showing a snap configurations, okay, here you may have observed, right? When we just type an expression, you see the preview, right? Live preview. This is the best feature in a middleware platform, in a middleware tool, which is not available any other middleware, only in SnapLogic. This makes SnapLogic very unique. Live validation is not available. I have never seen any other middlewares. Okay, as we type, okay, it starts the preview, live expression validation. See the live. We do not have to validate or run a pipeline to see the output of the expression that you do. Let's say 1 equal to 1. It gives instantly, it gives true or false. Right? This is live validation. And it shows the preview here. Before we go to output view, which is for all, we can see the preview here. All right, fine. Let's get to know about all the snaps. I'm creating another pipeline called demo 2 in the same root share. Where is it? here. Okay, in our initial sessions, we discussed about various connections, right? Here, okay. How do we connect to various systems? If it is file-based or API-based or data-based system, we use the corresponding snaps to connect and process. So let's see the relevant snaps for all those. So data can be retrieved from files. Okay, that is one. And S3 file, it can be S3 storage. Or file can be, data can be retrieved from an API. So REST API or SOAP APIs. And any database. We can retrieve data from any database. Let's say Redshift read, Redshift select. And a SaaS application, let's say NetSuite, NetSuite Get. And let's say Salesforce, we can get data from Salesforce, read. So these are a few examples of data sources where we retrieve data from, right? APIs, SOAP and REST, file-based and SaaS applications and databases. And when we retrieve data from structured data, which means API based or data-based or SaaS applications, they give structured or semi-structured data. DB always gives structured data, and APIs may give semi-structured data, which means JSON. Structured data is equal to the data that can be previewed in the form of a table in a database. That is fully structured data. Semi-structured is like JSON or XML called semi-structured data, where we do not have fully structured data. We have arrays, objects kind of structure. Okay, when we retrieve semi-structured data or structured data, we need to convert it to parse. Okay, let's see parse. Let's say we are receiving file data. We are connecting to Azure storage. Okay, where we are retrieving a CSV file. We use CSV parser. I'm talking about a file-based format first. Okay, we receive Excel data, Excel file. We have Excel parser, CSV, Excel, and JSON. All these are parsers. Okay, Parquet format. So we can parse all these types of data in SnapLogic from a file. Okay, it can be from a file or it can be from any other system. We can just pass data to this and then convert that to JSON semi-structured data to process in the pipeline. So in SnapLogic, as I highlighted, in SnapLogic, data will be processed here. Here, data will be processed only in the form of JSON between the snaps. That's why we can see in every snap output, we can see JSON. The snap, everywhere. Yeah, this is binary, so this won't be applicable. We can say the preview of the file. All right. So it depends on the type of file file data format that we have. We use the corresponding parser. Let's have I'll have a sample file. I have a file that has 100 records. It's a CSV file. We're reading it. Okay. Right now we are reading directly from uploaded to SnapLogic database, which means the manager space. Okay. It is uploaded. We can see that here. Refresh. We see that here. Okay, right now I directly uploaded the file that I have. Then this is a CSV formatted file I have. So I'll use CSV parser. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes when we cannot have the snaps directly closely placed, okay, we can keep far and click on it, drag and connect. This way we can connect. Here I have CSV data. If I use CSV parser, this will convert CSV data to JSON. Right? This is structured data. We can see this is a CSV data in the JSON format. All the fields. If I open the file preview, this is a file, CSV file that I uploaded. Same way we do formatting data. Yep. Same we have parsers which will convert input data to SnapLogic's natively formatted JSON. We can convert to required output file. I want data in Excel. I want data in JSON or XML. I do any transformation logics and all. We have Excel multi-sheet as well. And we have CSV Avro. Avro is another format. Okay. We use formatter snaps. In a simple use case like this, okay, we read data from a source. If it is file based, we will give the file parser, depends on the type of data format. Then we apply all the logics like mapper, let's say what else we have, filter, join. We apply all the logics, transformation logics. Yes. And send data to a formatter snap this way. And target. Now let's see what is our target system. It can be another file based system, or it can be a database. Same here. If it is a database like Redshift, we will use Redshift upload. It can be bulk load or insert. If it is huge volume of data, we will use Redshift bulk load. If it is row by row insert, we'll use Redshift insert. Similar way, it can be like SQL Server bulk load. Or if it is another API again, I need to send data to an API, I'll use HTTP client, which is API. And where can we write data again? To S3, okay, S3 or Azure storage. S3 upload. I can upload data to S3. Right? These are all the possibilities. Okay, examples of possibilities. I'm just showing up. Okay. Are you with me? Or any questions here? We can add more and more snaps here. Union, mapper, copy, a lot of snaps. We will discuss all of them. Are you following? Could someone acknowledge?
Yes.
All right. Shall we move next?
Yes.
Okay. So I think you got what are the data sources, where is data sources, which snaps we use, and for parsing data, which snaps use, parsers, and to format, we use formatter snaps, and to load data or insert data to our target system, what do we use? Either if it is files, we will use file data snap. If it is S3, we have a specific snap for S3. And if it is API, again HTTP client, database means database specific snaps. In between, the transformation logics are many. There are many thousands of transformation logics we can apply on data. It can be a number of. All right. Then we'll go next. From this example, I think you might have understood. We have JSON data moving up here, passing on from one snap to another, and data is converting to file and writing it to the target. And we can change for a few snaps, not all, just a couple of snaps, like mapper, join, and another, just 3-4 snaps. We can change the type of input or output view. It is very limited snaps. We may not need it most of the time. We will use with the same data format, how it is in its native format. We'll see example now. Okay. I'll create another one, demo 3, and same shared. Okay, let's begin with the core snaps, which I highlighted initially in initial sessions. There are core snaps and premium snaps when we discussed about snaps and snapbacks here, right? Core snaps are the native SnapLogic native snaps, binary, okay? Then flow, REST, which are used to connect to REST APIs. But right now we have advanced version of REST connection, which is HTTP client. So from last release, which means previous May release, they recommend to use the new HTTP snap and stop using the old REST snaps. That's why it is highlighted, not recommended. And after REST, we have script. Okay, we can use script. Okay, we will see that in an example. Then SOAP, transform. These are the snaps we mostly use. All the transformation logics that we need to implement are done by transform snaps. We'll use formatting, parsing, mapping, encrypt, decrypt, all this. Grouping, join, sorting, a lot of transformations we do using transform snaps. Okay, and yes, of these, let's look at each snapback. Okay, in binary, let's talk about some of the common snaps. AES encryption. You may know anybody aware of encryption. We have different types of encryption methods like AES, PGP, and blowfish. These are encryption methods, and the most commonly used are AES and PGP. These just to encrypt the data. Let's see here. If we have data, oh sorry, we'll keep it as binary. I want to encrypt this data. Then I can use the encryption keys, right? I need to provide the account, crypto account, symmetric crypto account. We need to configure the encryption algorithm and secret key in order to use the encryption methods. Same way we have PGP encrypt and two-fish encrypt, blowfish encrypt. But the commonly used are PGP, encrypt or decrypt, and AES. Same way we have account in AES. We need account here as well. We need to create a private key and a public key to configure the account and then encrypt. We will see one simple use case using encryption. Okay. It's 10 a.m. Is it okay if we continue, or we can take a 10 minutes break? We can have a quick.
So just we can have a 5 minutes break then. Okay.
All right. So right now it's 10 2 a.m. Okay, we'll be back. We'll take 8 minutes. Okay, we'll be back by 10:10. Is that fine?
Okay.
All right. I'll keep the screen on mute.
conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, Sunil, we can start.
All right, thank you. Let's continue. Okay, we'll see an example on how to use encryption, right? We don't have an encryption account right now, but we'll create one. Okay, I have a sample CSV card, right? We need to encrypt that in PGP. So this encryption is used in secured file transferring systems, right? Like bank systems. We transfer in B2B transaction systems. We use encryption to prevent any data breach. Okay? This is more of data security encryption. We need an account. Let's create one account. Add account. Here we go. Any snap where we have account, we just go, and from the drop down we select the account. But we do not have PGP encrypt account right now, so we need to create one. Add account. Here you can see public key account and private key account. You may be aware, for encryption we use public key, and for decryption we use private key. So here I would like to use encrypt and decrypt as well. So I will create private key, which also contains the public key. Okay, so let's create one. I'll ask, we can have a sample account online. PGP key pair. Name, I'll give some domain test.com. Algorithm, I want RS here. Key size, the default 1024. If not mandatory, I'll leave it for default. Expire, never. Generally keys have expiry date, like a few months or a few years expiry. So generally it is kept 1 year. And key passphrase, we can keep a password to use the key. I'll keep without any passphrase. If that is not mandatory, yeah, it is mandatory. I'll give 1 2 3 4 5. Generate keys. Okay, size is required. We have public key and private key. Let's copy that. You can see in the heading, right? PGP public key block. Let's create account with this. I did just copy paste. We should ensure that there are no additional characters the beginning or end of the key. It is good. Let's get the private key. Private key. You can see private key end block, beginning block. Okay. Key passphrase 1 2 3 4 5 and key demo PGP. Let's validate whether the credentials that we provided are valid or not. Account validation successful. So most of the accounts will have the validate button to verify the credentials that we provided. Okay, most of the accounts. If something is incorrect, like password or any other settings in the account is incorrect, it throws an error. So it is always recommended to validate an account when we create. Now save, which means apply. algorithm, we can use same one or a different one. I use is okay. I'll use the default one. I'm validating now. We have a sample file, CSV file, right? I'm encrypting this CSV file. This is encrypted. We will not be able to see this data in the preview. This is encrypted. Okay, let's try to decrypt it. Let's write it into a file. We can directly decrypt as well. Okay, you can write into a file write like this and send to the user, whoever needs this encrypted file. Okay, or I can directly decrypt it. Let's see we receive the correct data or not. I'm using decrypt. We use the same account. We should use the same account. Validate. Enabled, yes. Enabled, yes. Yes, we can see it is encrypted. Let's see the output. File reader, output preview, which is in readable format. Look at PGP encrypt output view, which is encrypted. And next, PGP decrypt output view. We can see the data back. The same input what we had. Is it clear? Can someone knowledge? I hope you are following me. If not, feel free to
Yeah,
raise your
Sunil,
hand.
so what is the data that you have been entered, right? From the PGP key generated, what is the need of it?
This is our data. Okay, we have a CSV data. Want to
So,
in a real-time use case between let's say you have an organization, right? You do a lot of
mm,
transactions every day to your customers, and some invoices you need to process. The invoices you will send for remittance to banks, right? So from your organization, you need to send data to external system, which is a bank. Such secured transaction, since it is financial data, it should be very secured, highly secured, right? So all such highly secured transactions use encryption. So here you will use encryption. You will encrypt data and send them. And yeah, to give you more clarity on that, we have created public and private key both, right?
okay,
Here, public key is to encrypt, private key is to decrypt. So as the name says, public key can be given to anybody, which means in our example, you need to send your data invoice to bank. Then bank will decrypt it and process the data to the beneficiary. Here you will use encryption key which is given by the bank. Bank will be able to decrypt it.
okay,
Create a public and private key pair, and they will give you public key to encrypt it, and the one who has the private key will be able to decrypt, and private key should not be shared with anybody else. So it is like we are zipping, and they are unzipping. Zipping can be done by anybody, like locking. Anybody can lock it, but only the one who has private key able to unlock it. Okay, same
Okay,
way,
sir.
if you are receiving data from another vendor or your partner, business partner, you need to receive encrypted data. You will create public key pair and you will give them the public key. They will encrypt it and give you, and you will decrypt using your private key. Okay,
Okay,
did I
sir.
make it?
Got it. Yeah, got it. Got it.
All right. Any other questions on it? And it depends on organization. Okay, what encryption method they use. Mostly AES and PGP are most widely used. Okay, now let's see. We have been talking about connecting to endpoints, various endpoints, right? What are the accounts associated for each system, each end system? If we go file reader has it has the support to connect to many systems, not one, right? AWS S3, Azure, Azure Storage, Azure Data Lake, and Basic Auth, which is for SFTP file server, and Google Storage. S3 has another authentication called S3 Dynamic, SMB, and SSH two-factor. So to connect to various systems, each system supports a different type of authentication, right? So it supports all these authentication types right now. If we are using, let's say, writing a file or reading a file from S3 storage, there are two types of authentication S3 has. One is a default S3, another is S3 dynamic. S3 AWS S3 is key based. Okay, here you can see access key, secret key. If there is any encryption involved, we can configure encryption as well. Is it server side or KMS client side? All that. If it is IAM role, identity access management, that's a concept in AWS. It is managed by the AWS admins. Okay. If it is IAM role based account, we will enable IAM role and give the IAM details. So access key and secret key are the primary credentials to connect to S3. Same way, S3 dynamic means the same access key, secret key, and security token we can pass dynamically. We may not use it. 99% of time we do not use it, but the feasibility is there. It's not used in most of the environments. So to connect to S3, we use most of the time AWS S3, the secure account. And to connect to Azure Storage supports only one type of authentication, secure key. Okay, account name we need to give, authentication type we need to define. Is it SaaS URI based? It is mostly access key based. And if it is identity based, we need to provide the identity details. And next, let's look at basic auth. Okay, this is just the basic authentication. Username, password. This is mostly used in file servers. Okay, SFTP servers. We just provide username, test user one, and the password over there, and we'll give a label to it. Okay, SFTP QA account. Okay, then we will use it. We'll just choose it from the drop down. So the same accounts support is for both file reader and file writer. If you look at file writer, same type of authentications we can see. All right. Okay. And in the views, we discuss both. Okay, you might have observed here error, right? We will discuss in error handling approach. When there is an error occurs, what to do? Do we need to let the snap fail or ignore or route the error data in a separate view? I'll say here in this example, demo 1. Yep. Let's say null safe access I removed and we don't have a field called number in the input view. So what happens now? Snap fails. Snap failed. You can see red, yeah, red colored error appears. You can see number was not found. Let's say we have multiple records, right? We have one here. I'll add one more. Num, here it is, number. In one record we have num, the other record we have number, and we mapped number. So this record, the second, should be successful. But it failed, right? Let's look at output. It is the same error. Number is undefined. But what we expect is the first record to fail and the second record to be successful. What happened here is snap failed. We did not see any data because we set the error setting, right? When there is an error occurs, stop the pipeline execution, which means stop the snap. Snap fails. But I want the bad data to be either ignored, let's say ignore, which means discard. Discard error data and continue. Now error record will be discarded. It won't be processed anywhere. It will be skipped. And success record, the second one, will be processed. Right? The second one where we have number 2 is processed. If you look at previous JSON generator, we have two records. The mapper skipped the first record where there is an error and processed the success one. Okay. See, we mostly do not prefer this to ignore the data. We will route the data to separate view in order to analyze what's the error and what are the fields having issues. We need to analyze the bad data, error data. And in order to do that, we need to catch the error record and move the success record, success data without any interruption. If I enable that, you can see error view opened. This error view can be opened to all the snaps, almost all, except a few, almost all the snaps. You can click route error data to error view. Error view. You can see. So success data will be processed here on the success flow. Error data will be routed to separate error view. Let's see that. You can see here it showed an error indication. There's an error icon. Let's see here. JSON generator has 2 records, and mapper received both of them and processed one which is valid and routed the second one to error view. We can see input 0 to, which means the first input. 0 is just an index, okay? Input 0, the input received 2 records, and output here passed only one, and error. It sent one record to error view indicated here. And we can see what is the error. To know more, number is undefined. Right? The same we can see here, it is success. Mapper output is success. Let's move next. CSV formatter is success. We will see only one record. Let's look at error view. What is there? Here we can see what is the error. There is an error message. This is a complete stack trace. To understand in detail, if you just click format, it will be beautified. Okay, and render space. This is just to highlight the space. Okay, in a light dots kind of. I prefer not to keep it. I always prefer formatted, which is beautified version of JSON. We can use this as well. Expand all, like collapse all, kind of. Directly, if we would like to expand levels, like 4 levels expand, which means just objects, okay? 1, 2, 3, that way, 4 levels. I would like to, this is error message, this is struct trace, this is the reason. Number was not found while evaluating the sub-expression number. This is the actual error message. Okay, in any snap output view, the common fields are, error view, okay? In any snap error view, common fields, error, stack trace, and resolution. Few snaps like this mapper and few transform snaps, we will see reason as well. Okay, and status code, this is also common. For few snaps like endpoint connecting systems like DB snaps or file reader snaps, we will have little more information, but the structure would be same. All right, did I make it clear? Any questions? No? All right. We'll continue with binary. Okay. Binary, I think we discussed encryption, file readers, file writer. We saw an example of writing a file here. We created a file, test.json, and file delete. Okay, we can delete a file using this snap. We need to provide the input, file, and the path, file name. So we created test.json. If you would like to delete that, we can give and validate. Okay, but I don't want to delete that right now. Same way, directory browser. Okay, if we would like to browse, which means just list the artifacts in a given folder. It will list all of them. In a given directory, we have files, folders, any asset. Let's try with one. Okay. Okay, we need to give the environment name. SLDB refers to SnapLogic database, which is the SnapLogic manager storage. Okay, we mention this followed by 3/. Okay, and where is the file? Okay, this is our folder. Let's explore what are there. Okay, file filter. I don't want any filter. I want everything. List everything. Star. I want to disable the other ones right now. We can see all that are present in that shared folder. We can see many, right? These files, all these files. We can see the type file. It shows directories as well, but we don't have folder structure here. If we give like file server or S3 storage, we will be able to see the folders as well. But right now we have only files. Size of the file, creation time, update time, the owner, permissions, all of these. We can see in JSON format, all of these. Let's say sales data.csv. Where is it? Sales data. We can just search. We have it. Sales data.csv. All right. File reader, file polar, file delete. Okay. File operation. This is to move the files from one folder to another. We use file operation. Okay. It can be move or copy. We can select move or copy. In a storage, it is like a FTP server or a storage system. We want to move the file or copy file from one to another, or it can be same directory as well. It can be same folder as well. We need to provide the source file name, including the path. Okay, the complete path we need to give, and the target along with the path. Complete path here will give test2 JSON. This way, we need to give source name and path, and target name and path, and the file operation, either move or copy. And we have a button here, error if exists. If the file is present already exists by the same name as we specified here, it shows an error. If we disable, it will overwrite. Sometimes we do not want file overwrite. If there's already a present by the same name, we need to throw it an error. Then we will enable error if already exists. And zip write, yep. We can read zip files and we can write zip files. And other multi-file reader. This is useful in some scenarios where we may need to read multiple files in a folder. Okay, we have given a folder, like it is recommended in same type of files. Okay, same structured files, not like all like various files. Okay, all same structured files. I have some sales data files. Okay, they all with the same structured, same fields. Okay, that will give a folder we will specify, okay, like sftp, some root sales data folder we will mention, and data is in the format, a file name is in the format of sales followed by date, let's say like this, 2025 0829 dot csv. Let's say we will have files this way. Since date is dynamic, I will use wildcard star sales underscore star dot csv. All the files matching this file name will be picked and processed. It will show up in the output. Then we will use the parser here in CSV. So we will use CSV parser. It appears in order to parse this file into JSON document, all of them. And here we need to keep in mind all files data will be merged and cannot be processed like an individual file. If we need to process individual files, we need to use directory browser and then file reader, let's say directory browser, copy, file reader. Here I will open input view for file reader to connect here. I connect this. I will disable any other. Okay. Here I have specified the path which is here, shared, and then we need to receive that path from previous snap, which is directory browser. Okay. Here we have in the output. Let's get only a specific file. That's sales data. Okay. Let's process only our data, not other data. We have this file, right? We'll filter that instead of star. From all the files in the directory, it will pick only this file. We can see only one file is picked, matching our filter 100 records.csv. I want to give that path to file reader. I will enable this. Okay, this is about snap options. Okay, along with the label, every snap has a label and some options like some checkbox, some properties, and some of static values. Okay, wherever we have text field with equal icon, right, this button, it means we can use expression, which is just an expression, right? So right now if I give anything, this is hardcode and static value. We will use this button, this toggle. This click means enable. You see drop down appears. We can use input schema, which means that input receiving from previous snap here, and we can use functions, expression, SnapLogic expression language, these functions. We will discuss these more in transform snapback. Okay, Once we're done with binary, we'll go to transform, flow and transform. Okay. Now I want to provide a path. Where is that path? Here. Okay. Any value that is from the input stream is specified with a dollar path, means it refers to previous snap input. Okay, this is running from the input schema. You can see all these fields. Whatever I select, you will see path or anything. Permissions, everything refers to dollar field name. Okay, here we can see the path appears. I'll save snap. Okay, and to detail more, once we see that, I'll go to snap detail. We can see the preview of our file CSV data. Okay, close. Next, here you can see options in top right. What appears here is the label that we defined. Okay, its default is snap label. We can change it. Right, file read CSV, save it. Label changes. Right. List files from SLDB. So in real time, it is recommended to keep the label a little descriptive, not just like a name of the snap, little descriptive and meaningful, so that anybody looking at the pipeline or the snap can understand it, what it does. We can see, if you hover the cursor, you can see directory list files from SLDB. It shows only like 15-20 characters in the preview label, and if you would like to see the complete label, you can just hover the cursor. This shows up there. And in the info, you go to any snap info, we will see notes. This is very useful, okay, for AI. More than us, it is useful for AI as well. AI can read these notes and describe more better way when we use Snap GPT to explain about this pipeline. So it is always suggested to keep some notes. This reads files from SLDB. Which file I can mention, like sales data files from SLDB. This is little descriptive. We can keep a lot of notes here. Okay, and title is the name of the snap, not the label. Okay, label is here what appears on top of the snap, but info is about what is this snap. This is a directory browser. What's the purpose of it? Retrieves attributes of contents of a given directory. You can see that. And developer, it is SnapLogic always. And for custom snaps, whatever name we specified in the code, in the Java code, appears. And class FGOD, this is a version, just to refer. Then this for debugging purposes, we do not need this. You need to know about the version or the FQID. And this is about info tab. Let's look at on top. Okay, label tab. Here you see question mark, right? This refers to the SnapLogic documentation page of this specific snap. If I click, it opens directory browser documentation, so that we can easily refer to if you would like to know any option of this snap. We can see. Okay, here This directory browser supports same as file writer, file reader. This supports multiple end system connectivities. For all those, what is the syntax? Okay, if I use, let's say, ADL, Azure Data Lake, to read files or write files, I use this syntax: ADL followed by store name, folder, file name. And if we use Windows, we use file. It can be Windows or the Linux to read data from the SnapLogic server node, which means we see on dashboard, right? Or we can also see here SnapLogic node, on which node this pipeline executed here. To read files from that node, it is at OS level, okay? Not at SnapLogic level, it is at node level. We can specify like file followed by the path. It is at Linux node. It has like root and like opt and file name this way. So we can read the files that are present in the node's local system. But it is not recommended to keep data files over there. Yeah. We can see the syntax. S3, there is a syntax to use S3. S3 colon // bucket name at the rate. This is a region, okay? We will see in the, if we log in the Amazon S3, we will see the bucket name and the region name. And this way, path. And if we use SLDB, we already used, right? And if we use SFTP server, file server, we use this way. So each end system has its own protocol. So we will follow that protocol. Here, these are the protocols. Azure Data Lake and Nodes file system, FTP, FTPS. These are the old methods. FTP, FTPS are not in use in many organizations right now. The advanced and secured one is SFTP. Okay, and HDFS is Hadoop data file system. SMB, the Windows file system. GS, Google Storage. SLDB, SnapLogic database. S3, WSB, Windows, Azure, block storage. Okay. This way we can refer to all of them. The next, in the snap options, we can just use maximize and minimize the snap and delete it. I can do Control Z to appear back and save and close. That's all. All right. I think today you have got to know all about snaps options, how to use snaps, and what are the views and binary document accounts, all of these, right? May I know anyone has a question? No. Feel free to ask questions. When we do it, you will have more questions anyway. All right.
Yes, Sunil. Just when we started working, only just we are come to know
Yes,
what
I agree.
things we know.
Here,
Until then,
yeah,
it's like a theory, like just we are listening what you're saying, right? So once we
yeah,
start working, we will have put more questions.
yes. And if someone would like to do something, okay, in along with me, I'll give screen control. You can do it, okay? We'll do that, okay? Once we're done with the snaps discussions, okay?
Okay.
When we transform something, I'll give control to somebody. I think in GoToMeeting we will have screen control.
We have
Yes,
option. Huh? We have
yes,
option. We will try
yes,
to give it.
yes. So we will give a chance to everybody until we get an account. We need to use this one. Okay, whoever would like to do. while I configure. I just guide, and you need to implement that. All right.
Okay.
So from next
Fine.
the flow snaps and transform snaps, we will continue from tomorrow's session.